This platform is a site for deliberation and for collective reflection on the foundational promise of our republic, the realization of justice, social, economic, and political, as envisaged in the preamble and concretized in Article 39A of our Constitution, which enjoins the state to ensure that access to justice is not curtailed by economic or other disabilities. The thematic focus of today's conference on the rights and entitlements of defense personnel and tribal communities touches upon two segments of our society. One defends the Constitution with unflinching resolve. The other has long waited for its full embrace. Our deliberations today are a reaffirmation of our collective commitment to ensuring that justice is not a deferred aspiration, but a lived experience for both, for those who have served with selflessness and for those who have been underserved for far too long. And it is our collective responsibility to ensure that the institutions of justice rise to meet their needs with speed, sensitivity, and strength. Today, on the solemn occasion of Vijay Divas, let me begin by acknowledging the service and sacrifices of our defense personnel, both past and present. These men and women, many of whom belong to Jammu and Kashmir, serve in remote, inhospitable terrain with a quiet dignity and an enduring sense of duty. However, when faced with legal challenges, be it service-related disputes, pension matters, or civil grievances, they often encounter systemic barriers owing to geographic remoteness, the mobile nature of their postings, and the distinct constraints of military life. These challenges definitely constitute other disabilities under Article 39A and must be addressed with the urgency and the compassion that they warrant. It is indefensible that those who risk their lives to uphold the Constitution should struggle to access the protections it guarantees. I take this opportunity to commend the J&K State Legal Services Authority for its initiative in amending its legal aid rules to expressly include serving and retired defense personnel. Likewise, the recent procedural reforms introduced by the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir merit appreciation for easing access to justice for our uniformed citizens. These steps are laudable, but they must mark the beginning of a deeper institutional engagement. There is a pressing need to establish a robust coordination among legal service authorities, military legal cells, Zilla Sainik boards, and regimental welfare offices. The establishment of dedicated legal aid clinics in cantonments and in districts with significant ex-servicemen populations should be prioritized. Equally important is the need to ensure that families of defense personnel, particularly widows, aged parents, and dependent children, receive empathetic, expert, and timely legal support. Awareness must accompany access. No soldier or the family of a soldier should be left adrift, unsure of the procedural avenues available to them. To this end, paralegal volunteers trained specially in military legal issues should be deployed in areas with high defense populations. Simultaneously, technology must be harnessed to democratize access through mobile apps, virtual consultation platforms, and user-friendly legal information portals. Justice in our times must not merely be available, it must also be accessible. Turning now to our tribal communities, custodians of rich cultural and ecological heritage, Jammu and Kashmir is home to several scheduled tribes, including Gujars, Bakarwals, Pahadis, Gaddis, and Sippis, who have preserved ancient traditions while braving difficult terrain. The recent extension of key constitutional protections through the Forest Rights Act, the Panchayat's extension to Scheduled Areas Act, and affirmative action policies mark a historic correction in the arc of legal recognition. Our government has correspondingly augmented its development efforts. This year, the capital expenditure for tribal welfare has been raised to 98 crores, 6 Eklavya model residential schools have been made operational, 222 smart classrooms have been established in tribal-dominated schools, and healthcare services have been expanded through mobile medical units. The Tribal Research Institute has also been commissioned. These interventions reflect our commitment to combine dignity with development. Yet development alone cannot substitute justice. Structural barriers to legal literacy, representation, and redressal continue to persist among tribal populations, owing to linguistic, cultural, and geographic factors. The Legal Services Authority has commendably operationalized 255 legal aid clinics, including in tribal villages and correctional institutions, supported by 527 panel lawyers and 561 paralegal volunteers. However, we must go further. It is important that paralegal volunteers are trained from within the tribal communities themselves. This will ensure that legal support is rendered in familiar idioms, dialects, and cultural frameworks. We must also expand mobile legal aid vans, promote the use of tele-law platforms, and facilitate virtual hearings. Justice, if it is to be meaningful, must reach every remote hamlet from Poonch to Kishtwar and from Rajouri to Karna. Simultaneously, a sensitive balance must be maintained between national security and the rights of tribal citizens. Many tribal regions are located in border belts or areas of heightened security oversight. However, law enforcement must not translate into legal disenfranchisement. Mechanisms for lodging complaints, accessing courts, and redressing grievances must be made transparent, timely, and responsive. Alternate dispute resolution mechanisms also offer immense potential. Lok adalats, mediation centers, and village-level panchayat forums, when duly sensitized, can provide swift, culturally respectful adjudication, especially in matters related to land rights, service entitlements, and local grievances. These models need to be institutionalized and resourced accordingly. Capacity building is essential. Judicial officers, legal aid lawyers, and field functionaries must be trained in tribal customary law, military jurisprudence, and the ethics of constitutional service. Only through sustained cross-learning can our justice system be truly responsive to the diversity it is meant to serve. Equally indispensable to legal empowerment are institutions of learning. I am pleased to share that the government of Jammu and Kashmir has sanctioned the establishment of a dedicated law university with an initial allocation of 50 crores. Preparatory work is underway. This university is envisioned as a center of excellence focused on legal instruction, research, and policy innovations, particularly in domains such as tribal rights, constitutional law, military justice, and environmental governance. It is an investment in cultivating an inclusive and capable legal ecosystem for future generations. Let me conclude with the timeless words of Mahatma Gandhi. A nation's greatness is measured by how it treats its weakest members. In our context, the true test of our legal system lies in its treatment of all the weaker sections of the society, including those who have defended us without question and those whose rights have too often gone unrecognized. We must meet this test with humility, clarity, and resolve. On behalf of the government of Jammu and Kashmir, I reaffirm our unwavering support for the legal services authorities and their partners in delivering justice to the most marginalized. We must remain committed to providing every institutional, financial, and technological support necessary to transform constitutional promises into everyday reality.